YouTube. And there we go. All right.
Streaming.
Welcome. I'd like to call to order our regular city council meeting for May 18th, 2021. Would everyone please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God,
with liberty and justice for all.
with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, everyone. Roll call, Sylvia.
Mays,
Here.
Council President Rosner,
Here.
Councilor Browse,
Here.
Councilor Garland,
I am here.
Councilor Young,
Here.
Councilor Griffin,
Here.
and Councilor Scott.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. We now move to approval of the agenda. Josh, we have one item to remove, right?
Yes, we do.
That's correct. The item 5F.
All right. So we will remove that from the agenda. Any other changes to the agenda that we're aware of?
Make a motion to approve the agenda, removing resolution 2021-028, item F.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor of the motion to approve the agenda as changed, say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you, council. Next, we have the consent agenda. We have 5 items on the consent agenda now. Item A is approval of the May 4th, 2021 City Council meeting minutes. Item B is resolution 2021-024, authorizing the city manager to purchase 2 vehicles for Sherwood Broadband. Item C is resolution 2021-025, approving a public building project in the Sherwood 2021 Urban Renewal Plan. Item D is resolution 2021-026, appointing Emily Campbell to the Sherwood West Community Advisory Committee. And finally, item E is resolution 2021-027, adopting city council goals and activities for fiscal year 2021 to 2022.
Make a motion to approve consent.
Second.
Thank you, Kim and Russell. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of approving the 5 items on the consent agenda, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council. Citizen comments. Sylvia, do we have any citizen comments? I think we have one public hearing comment, but did we have any citizen comment?
That's correct, Mayor. No citizen comments and 1 public hearing comment.
Thank you, Sylvia. Then we'll move on to public hearings. We have 3 items under public hearings this evening, and I'll let Sylvia tell us about them.
The Sherwood City Council will hold a public hearing this item, 3 public hearings, to hear testimony on Ordinance 2021-004, adopting the 2021 Parks and Recreation Master Plan as a sub-element of the City of Sherwood's comprehensive plan, replacing all prior parks and recreation master plans. This is the second hearing on this item. For the second hearing on this particular item, a decision may be made by the council at the close of this hearing, or the matter may be continued to a time and date certain. If the matter is continued to a date certain, this is the only notice of that date you will receive. For Ordinance 2021-005, making certain determinations and findings related to and approving the Sherwood 2021 Urban Renewal Plan and directing that notice of approval be published. This is the first hearing on that item. And Ordinance 2021-006, amending Chapter 15.04 of the Sherwood Municipal Code to reflect the 2021 Oregon Building Code updates and Chapter 8.12 of the Sherwood Municipal Code to reflect the 2020 updates to the Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue Fire Code. This is also the first hearing on that ordinance. Mayor and Council, the comments that I have tonight to read are for Ordinance 005, item B on the agenda.
Thank you, Sylvia. So, Erica, Parks Master Plan.
Thank you. So tonight's the second reading of ordinance 2021-004. I don't have any additional information for you this evening in regards to that plan. The plan is in your packet. We didn't receive any additional comment this week in regards to the plan. We did, however, receive that one comment that is in your packet this evening from Neil Shannon, which was read into the record at the last hearing. So with that, staff, our recommendation is to adopt ordinance 2021-004.
Awesome. Thank you, Erica. So to be clear, we did not receive any additional citizen comments for the public hearing today. And so we will close the public hearing portion of this ordinance hearing tonight. And then questions for Erica from council. So that we've seen this once before and nothing has changed unless someone saw something that they overlooked before. I don't expect questions, but okay, discussion. I think all in all, we're pretty happy with the work done by staff, our advisory committees, our great park and rec volunteer board members, and our consultants. So it's great that we're to this point.
I'll just say I appreciate all the work that everybody's put into it. It was a long process. I know we've had, several work sessions on this, and then it was presented the first reading two weeks ago. So I know that's probably why we don't have a lot of questions tonight, but the final product gives us a lot to look forward to in our planning for Sherwood.
Hear, hear.
I would just echo Councilor Young's comments. The staff did a great job. Our board did a great job, and I really appreciate the hard effort. And the fact that there's not a lot of questions is actually a good sign that, I'll say it again, you did a great job. So thank you.
And I would thank our consultants also for all their hard work and guidance. And
oh yeah, consultants, yes.
Yeah. I'd be happy to make a motion if everybody's ready.
We're right ahead.
Oh no, this is one of those ones, isn't it? I read, caption, and adopt ordinance 2021-005. Nope, wrong one. 2021-004, adopting the 2021 Parks and Recreation Master Plan as a sub-element of the City of Sherwood Comprehensive Plan, replacing all prior Parks and Recreation Master Plans.
Second.
Awesome. Jim, thank you, Russell.
Ordinance 2021-004, adopting the 2021 Parks and Recreation Master Plan as a sub-element of the City of Sherwood Comprehensive Plan, replacing all prior Parks and Recreation Master Plans. Councillor Scott, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councillor Griffin?
Aye.
Councillor Browse?
Aye.
Councillor Young?
Aye.
Councillor Garland?
Aye.
Council President Rosner?
Aye.
Mayor Mays?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Our second ordinance, ordinance 2021-005, was in the Sherwood 2021 Urban Renewal Plan. Bruce.
Actually, I think that is going to be me. I'm going to do a presentation, although we do have Bruce Coleman and Elaine Howard are here to answer any questions. I'm going to give a an overview of the 2021 Urban Renewal Plan. Just as a reminder, more for anybody watching at home or in the future, what we're considering this evening is adoption of a new urban renewal area with a maximum indebtedness of $166.6 million over an estimated 30-year period. It will help facilitate development through the construction hold on, I need to get rid of my, there we go. Through the construction of necessary infrastructure, which will create new jobs and a stronger tax base for the community, which is consistent with the City Council economic development goals. I'm not going to go through this word for word, but we wanted to show you the review and adoption steps from being initiated formally by the Sherwood Urban Renewal Agency in March Through the hearing this evening, Washington County did vote on the plan this morning and approved it. And you also have received, with your action this evening, 3 of the 4 taxing of the top taxing districts have concurred with the public building. And then I also provided council earlier just a detail of just the multiple public meetings. All of these meetings that are listed here were publicly noticed, agendas posted. There were also the Urban Renewal Advisory Committee meetings, and this actually action started even before this March 2021 with several work sessions in front of the City Council discussing the feasibility study, forming the Urban Renewal Advisory Committee, and then moving us to where we are this evening. I also, because the council has had several work sessions on urban renewal in general, in talking with Elaine in preparation for this meeting, she said that oftentimes she does the URA 101 presentation to sort of share more for the public than with the council. And you guys have heard it a few times, so we didn't want to do that this evening, but we do want to point out that we do have information on the website. It's under the tab URA Virtual Open House, where we provide information about URAs in general, a copy of the draft plan, the report, information about each of the projects, which I'm actually going to be going through this evening, and as well as an explanation that the adoption of the urban renewal plan does not increase property taxes. And we also have a URA email where anybody could email any questions, comments about the URA plan or URA in general. And it's ura@sherwoodoregon.gov. So now I want to just talk briefly, and this is again just more of an overview for context of the projects that are in the plan. This map is showing the urban renewal area, which is probably the most unique urban renewal area in the state of Oregon, with a 78-page legal description. The yellow areas are properties that are included in the URA, and then the red lines are portions of right-of-way that are proposed to be in the URA that are intended to facilitate the deployment of the Sherwood Broadband. And then we have the map is showing the location of specific projects. I'm going to go through those very, very briefly. And again, this is on the URA Virtual Open House website, but we just wanted to highlight what the projects are that are proposed in the plan. The first one is the Oregon Street Tonkin Road intersection roundabout. And then we've got Oregon Street improvements and Oregon Street water quality facility, the Festival Plaza / parking lot in Old Town, the 99W pedestrian bridge at Sunset, Sherwood Broadband installation, Cedar Creek Trail crossing, undercrossing of 99 in the vicinity of where the trail is going to come out at 99. It's depicted on the map to the right. Cedarbrook Way extension, tannery site cleanup, which will also facilitate the relocation of the Public Works facility onto this site. Multiple transportation improvements within the Tonkin employment area identified in the TEA implementation plan and master plan, as well as water improvements and sewer improvements in the Tonkin employment area, and storm. Langer Farms Parkway extension on the north side of 99 across from where the Home Depot is. Construction of the Public Works facility and redevelopment of the existing Public Works facility site. And then 16, 17, and 18 are more generic developer assistance. If there are opportunities where we can help incentivize or assist development that's in line with the plan goals. Financing fees, we're going to be taking out loans throughout the life of the URA, and there will be fees associated with that. And then some administration costs associated with managing projects and managing the URA. I wanted to take a minute and just remind the council as well as the public. We did get one public comment that I believe will be read this evening and was entered into or was provided to the city council and is in the record. So I just wanted to kind of remind folks that the plan identifies the projects to be completed and the maximum indebtedness. The report, among other things, demonstrates the feasible timing and revenue of revenue to complete those projects, but the council and the URA is not bound to the specific timing or cost assumptions in that report, and the actual order of projects to be completed using these URA funds are subject to change. And so in response to one of the comments, it's not going to say that just because a project is in the URA plan for 20 years down the road, that project cannot be completed for 20 years. What it means is that the URA funding plan hasn't identified funding for that project for 20 years. That doesn't mean that a private development can't do it or priorities won't change again through the life of the URA. So if the URA is adopted, it will become effective 30 days after adoption. The URA plan and legal description will be recorded and submitted to the county tax assessor. And beginning in 2023, tax increment revenues will begin to be routed to the URA. We know that council is interested in beginning very soon with some projects, and there'll probably be some discussion this evening about timing of things. We anticipate fairly quickly moving forward with some projects based on council and URA board direction, as well as financing on the Festival Plaza, the pedestrian bridge, and Sherwood Broadband. So with that, we're happy to answer any questions. Again, Bruce is here as well as Elaine, and we respectfully recommend holding a public hearing and considering adoption of Ordinance 2021-005. Sorry, I've got one extra zero in that. Approving the URA 2021, approving the 2021 URA with the following edits. On Exhibit A, page 2 of 16, which is 268 of your council packet, and Exhibit B, page 4 of 57, which is page 386 of your council packet, replacing the blanks because we didn't have them until this morning after the county adopted the plan, replacing the blanks with RNO 21-56, which is the resolution and order of the county adoption. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
I had a question.
Maybe before we do questions, we'll have public testimony for the public hearing. Is that all right?
Yep.
So Julie, Sylvia, we have one submitted comment.
Correct.
And if you want to go ahead and read it, however much can be read in 4 minutes.
Yeah, and then if I can ask City Manager Gall or someone to keep the track of my time, please. This written comment comes from Jim Claus regarding proposed Sherwood 2021 Urban Renewal District hearing. For the few in town who actually know you are proposing a 30-year urban renewal district, here's a few comments in no particular order. With only 4 of 7 council votes needed to pass this multi-million-dollar honeypot, this new urban renewal district will be voted in. Bullet number 1, using a 7% annual growth rate calculation for the district, when even your consultant stated that 6% was an aggressive rate that improperly inflates a maximum allowed indebtedness from 132 million to the bloated 166.8 million you are now using. You know this old saying, a million here, a million there, and pretty soon the taxpayers are going to notice and throw you out. Your own consultant stated they typically use a 5% growth rate or less in other cities, counties, urban renewal reports. Why the bloated right out of the box. Bullet 2, the public interaction and outreach here is dismal. Only 3 other people watched the Planning Commission hearing live. No one from the public was allowed to comment. Don't blame it on COVID. Washington County Board of Commissioners allow live public comment. Sherwood has the same capacity, but will not allow citizens to comment. Elaine Howard told the Washington County BOC that the Sherwood documents had been available for all of April on the city's website. Not true. The draft documents weren't uploaded until April 14th, 2021. If the City Council was serious about ongoing public input and discourse, there would be a like number of elected, geographically districted citizen members voted on the Urban Renewal Board to discuss and vote side by side with the City Council Board, now the only members of the new URA Board. With one simple majority of the 4 board members votes needed, significant changes can be streamrolled, dramatically affecting our city's population of almost 20,000 people. Using a citizen surpat committee that is loaded up with rubber stamps does not work and is counter to the intent of public input and discourse. Bullet number 3, if the proposed URA projects were genuine, part of the Cedar Creek Way Road Extension project would include the city's responsibility on its own TSB plan and get the lighted intersection built along 99W between Meineke Road and Sunset Boulevard. That intersection is part and parcel to the completion of the ill-fated Cedar Creek Way Road extension and requires the city to initiate the request with ODOT and follow ODOT's guidelines for the public improvement. ODOT says their process takes more than 2 years to jump through. Do you see the intersection noted in the proposed URA project list? Nope. Why? Bullet number 4, the Planning Commission said their job was to answer one question. Does the proposed urban renewal district meet the city's general plan? Was there a professional review or commentary addressing this one question and any deficiencies? Nope. The chair asked the staff if the staff thought it met the general plan. Staff answered yes. That was that. Completely disingenuous and worse than a rubber stamp. Our own general plan doesn't even meet the standards of the general plan, much less a wild, wild west version of zoning, no zoning, that will be introduced with the new urban renewal district. Bullet number 5, we all remember when Mays and Jim Patterson and their sports friends wanted a new turf field and lights at the high school football field. They gerrymandered the old URA boundary to include the high school football field. If you look at their revised urban renewal district boundaries, you are reminded of the outline of Pinocchio's nose. What a joke. The URA paid for the turf and lights. Baloney. Meanwhile, our $20 million art center was downgraded as a project after the earlier URA was passed.
Sylvia,
Yes.
that time clock is passed.
Thank you. Mayor and Council, the comments, including the documents submitted along with these comments, will be included in the record.
Thank you, Sylvia. With that, we'll close the public hearing portion of this ordinance. And Kim, you had a comment? Question to staff or comment? I apologize.
I did. So I just had a question on the staff report. So, and I'm sure there's an easy answer, I'm just not understanding. It says on page 1 that our maximum indebtedness is that 166,600,000. And then on page 3, it says the adoption of the proposed new URA area will provide a projected 184,400,000. What is the difference there? I guess I'm not understanding.
So I will let Elaine correct me if I'm wrong, but that has to do with revenues and financing versus what we actually have the ability to do in projects. Elaine, I'm sure I messed that up.
It's a pretty straightforward answer. Maximum indebtedness by statute does not include interest paid on debt.
Okay.
So The 166.6 is not the interest amount, and the 184.4 is the projected total amount, including that interest on debt.
Okay, that was an easy answer. Thank you.
Elaine.
Tim, your hand's up.
Thank you, Keith. Yeah, and for those listening, I just want to comment on that because it's an important point. That maximum indebtedness is just a maximum. It's something that we can't change in the life of the URA. It doesn't necessarily mean we spend that much. That's really going to be contingent on what we actually raise and what the banks allow us to bond against. So that's just a maximum. If we have 20 years of great growth, yep, maybe we'll get to spend that much. And then I also want to note for people listening that this doesn't impact your property taxes. The way these revenues are raised is more about how property taxes are shared amongst the different taxing agencies around us. So it doesn't actually impact your property tax rates.
Yep. Other questions or comments? Certainly greatly appreciate all the hard work by dozens and dozens of people, from our advisory committees to our other jurisdictions that all have weighed in on this as well. Certainly in staff and our consulting team. This is going to, if approved by council for our community, this will have a very significant impact. The existing urban renewal district that we just shrunk down dramatically and is going to be sunsetted in the next 24 months. It brought us all the improvements to Old Town. If you're an old timer, and I'm more of a mid timer, but folks that born and raised in Sherwood know that Old Town streets were turned to gravel. All of the utilities were above ground. The utilities that were below ground were 100 years old. We completely redid all of the Old Town streets, all the utilities. We had the big cannery development, industrial development on the east side of the railroad tracks in Old Town. We acquired all that land. We cleared all that land. We cleaned up that land. We then put in the art center, the festival, the cannery square. We built all those streets in the cannery area. Huge improvement to our town because of that urban renewal district. The library, city hall, it was paid in part by the urban renewal district. The just project after project in Old Town, large and small. It was significant and very successful for our community, and we still haven't seen all of the benefits that will come from the existing urban renewal district. This one is definitely focusing on projects, a couple in Old Town, but most of them in other areas. You see the project list. The idea of being able to bring additional dollars to the pedestrian bridge between the YMCA area to the new high school area. That is just going to be transformational for our community to be able to have zero risk. I mean, it's moderate risk now for pedestrians to cross over that 10 lanes of traffic, 12 lanes of traffic. But if you remove them completely, separate them completely from those risks, it will make those roadways, those crazy roads between 99 and Kruger and Elwert, the roundabout, that much more operationally efficient, and then zero risk for our youth and not so youth in town. The undercrossing that is on the list, to have another grade separated crossing to be able to connect both sides of our community. It's a huge investment. Would not be possible without money coming from an urban renewal district like this. And then we'll still be looking for dollars. that, again, another transformational project to connect our community so that our families and youth, most importantly, can go about our town safely. And then lots of little projects, the Festival Plaza or whatever we end up calling it, it's going to be a great addition to Old Town. We desperately need a public works facility, and cleaning up another contaminated area in town, a legacy of bad actors in our past, to be able to clean up that contaminated land, do it right, and then have a public benefit on it is a big deal. Jumpstarting and economic development activity in the Tonkin employment area, putting in needed infrastructure that in today's world we need to do to then get those projects to come into town, to be able to provide jobs in town, to improve our tax base, to help make our community a more sustainable community is huge. And there's Sherwood Broadband. We have Sherwood Broadband connecting all government facilities, a lot of industrial and commercial facilities, and some residential. Because there is a significant project of the urban renewal, this urban renewal plan, to extend the backbone through most neighborhoods in town, and then we'll do the rest outside the urban renewal district. That will be a huge long-term benefit to our community, to be able to have a wonderful broadband to the home, to every home in town, and those dollars all stay in town. So I'm super excited about all of those, and then road project after road project that we will be able to get done. It is this is really exciting, really exciting. Other thoughts or comments? So we normally, this is our first hearing. We're in these crazy days of coming out of a pandemic, and Joe and David have commented the potential cost of delay. And so the consideration, should we consider passing or adopting this tonight versus waiting 2 more weeks? David, what do you sent out an email? Do you want to just, if you're there, what's the potential cost of delay? Or Bruce, what do you think we could happen in these crazy kind of times with market rates?
Well, I think David could probably talk about the cost, but we all know that there could be some changes in market interest rates. Nobody knows for sure when that's going to happen, but if we are going into an inflationary period, and nobody can be sure, that could certainly affect interest rates, and so I think that could be a very meaningful factor in terms of borrowing money.
And then just if we are in an inflationary period with projects, the cost of delay with projects, even if it's 2 weeks, there's also the cost of delay on materials. So personally, I'm very happy with the plan, the outreach, lots and lots of meetings, lots and lots of opportunities for folks to weigh in, even in these weird times of pandemic. Oh, David, you're able to connect?
Yeah, sorry about that. I just got kicked off for a second. I was wondering what was going on.
So you sent an email. You wanted to explain what your email from earlier today to council, talking about what if our estimated bonding interest rate goes up, what's that cost to us?
Yeah, right now, if we were looking at a $40 million loan, let's say over a 30-year term, just going from a 2% interest rate to 2.25% interest rate over the life of the 30-year loan would be about a $1.9 million additional cost the city would have to incur. Now, if you went from a 2% all the way up to 2.5%, you're also just a little bit over the $1.9 million mark. So, interest rates are fluctuating quite a bit. There is some risk. I know there's a lot of inflationary talk at the White House right now, and it's week by week with the market and this debt. So the sooner the better in terms of trying to take advantage of a low rate.
Thanks, David. Tim's hands up.
Oh, I was just gonna echo that sentiment. I think we're at a period where interest rates are at historic lows. I mean, they're incredibly low right now, and if we can take advantage of that, it means we get to do more with that money and do more projects and get more built. And so I'm in favor of getting this done in one night, given the pressures right now with inflation and the potential for an increase in interest rates. Even as David pointed out, even a small increase is a lot of money. So, with that in mind, and just the fact that through this process, there has been many opportunities for citizens to engage, comment, and discuss the URA along the way. So I'm very comfortable with moving forward tonight.
Thanks, Tim. Kim, your hand's up. You're muted still.
Take two. So I was just going to echo what Councilor Rosner said. When we were given the idea of maybe needing to possibly pass this when one reading, given the volatility of the interest rates or what that could be, I had called Joe and I said, could you just put together a timeline of all the meetings that we've had, just so I can refresh my memory on the opportunities that the public has had to weigh in, to hear about it. And I forgot how far back these meetings started, like almost a year ago in July, when we started our feasibility study. And then we've had city council work sessions. There's been multiple URA advisory committee meetings, planning commission, and then that virtual open house online that was advertised on our city's social media. There was public hearing with the school district, Washington County. So I think, usually hesitant to pass something so important as this in one reading, but given the 2-week time frame and who knows what could happen, that could be at an expensive almost $2 million to the city if interest rates were to even go up like 0.5%. So I would be in favor of passing this tonight.
Other questions or comment from council to staff or amongst each other?
I'd like to weigh in.
Yeah. Awesome.
So initially, when I heard the rumblings that we might try to consider to pass this in one night, I was absolutely hesitant. I won't quote Council President Rosner, sorry, didn't mispronounce your name, Tim. The number of times when, council or staff asked, hey, this could be passed in one night. And he suggested time after time that for transparency and fairness to the public, that we don't do that we kind of have a policy, a procedure. I know that we have, though, on occasions. It's not like we've never done that. We have on occasions over the past, the time that I've been on the council, when we thought it was prudent and the right thing to do on behalf of the city, we went ahead and we made that exception. And I don't feel like, at the moment, I don't feel like we have an avalanche of public comment looming over us. Every comment is important. I absolutely recognize that. And as Kim, Councilor Young just stated, there has been a lot of meetings and opportunities, to make comment. Not everybody does, but that's kind of how it goes. When you're on this side, a lot of people, they just don't weigh in on things. And as I reviewed carefully those projects, that we've put on there as our plan, and I look back at City Hall. We have such a great library. We wouldn't have the arts center that we have. I lived here before we cleaned up all that stuff that was on the other side of the railroad tracks. I was here for all of that. I was here when we were still in the old what was it? The Plankard building? Is that what that's called? I mean, oh my gosh, you go upstairs. That was not OSHA safe to walk up those stairs, number one. And it kind of smelled funny. I'm sure it smells wonderful now, but
because it's also haunted.
I totally remember that whole story. Yes. And I think that, sometimes the city, I mentioned this to almost everybody. I feel like we're on the cusp of making some big changes. Tualatin's kind of filling up and it's coming our way. And I feel like if we're not prepared, I'm keenly interested in the Tualatin or the Tonquin employment area, improvements and sort of having a say in directing how that occurs, as opposed to being dictated to, this is how this is going to happen, because we don't have any means of funding that infrastructure. So normally I might be the one dissenting vote. I've really thought about it today. In fact, I told Julia and Kristen yesterday that I really had a problem with this, but as I reviewed it and after reviewing, and David's he's not a wizard. I mean, he thinks he's a wizard, but he's not a wizard. We don't know what's going to happen. He doesn't have a crystal ball. If he does, he's not sharing it. And I feel like, we don't really know. And what if, even a half a percentage point, and then it's, $2 million worth of projects we have to take off the list because we delayed. And I feel like if I had to justify the one meeting vote to the citizens of Sherwood, I feel like I could stop on the street and I could comfortably explain why I voted like that. So that's it. I'm in. Thank you. That's it. Thanks, Mayor.
Thanks, Russell. Other comments? Kim still has her hand up. I don't know if she has another comment. No.
My hand's still up. I just remind the citizens that this is no increase to our taxes. Correct? Doing a URA.
Yeah, absolutely nothing. And no harm to our school district. And the intention of an urban renewal district is we make investments to facilitate development that might not happen otherwise without that happening or as fast. So then when the urban renewal district then closes, like the one that's about to close in our town, everyone gets that gain and benefits much greater than they would without the urban renewal district existing at all. So Sean.
Yeah, I'll pretty much echo what Russell said. I'll try and be a little bit quicker with my comments, but yeah, I think the key word that you use there, Mayor, is benefits, and that this benefits everybody in our community. I mean, the pedestrian bridge is a huge win. It's something I know that you were advocating for prior to even coming on to council. That was your big, hope and dream. And I'll admit, I didn't think it was possible, but here we are, and so I love it. And I have a personal soft spot for the plan on Oregon Street there to fix that road up a little bit and have some sidewalks that go from one end of that street to the other, so I don't have to walk a stroller through gravel and puddles. So there's so many things in this plan that people can find that are going to benefit them. And this is the way that cities do it, and this is what we need to do. So I think if people, we've had plenty of opportunities to speak to this. I echo what everybody else has said tonight and on other nights when we've had the opportunity to do readings in one night rather than two. Typically, we would come back in 2 weeks and provide an opportunity for people to speak in between. There's been a lot of opportunities. There's been a lot of outreach on the part of the city. I'm ready to go. So I'd like to move forward and start, working towards bringing some of these benefits to our community and making sure we're even a little bit better. So I'm definitely in favor of voting this evening.
Thanks, Sean. Any other comments, questions? Is there a motion if there's no more comments or questions?
I would read, caption, and adopt ordinance 2021-005, making certain determinations and findings relating to and approving the Sherwood 2021 Urban Renewal Plan and directing that notice of approval to be published.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Doug. Sylvia?
I'm sorry, Mayor, the second was from,
Doug?
thank you.
Me.
Ordinance 2021-005, making certain determinations and findings related to and approving the Sherwood 2021 Urban Renewal Plan and directing that notice of approval be published. Councilor Scott, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilor Griffin?
Aye.
Councilor Rouse?
Aye.
Councilor Young?
Aye.
Councilor Garland?
Aye.
Council President Rosner?
Aye.
Mayor Mays?
Aye.
Thank you.
Council. Thank you, Julia and Joe and team. It's a lot of work. Great job. I'm super excited about this. A lot of work ahead of us, but this is a big step. Moving on to the third item of public hearing is item C, ordinance 2021-006. Scott.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Scott McKee, city building official. This ordinance is to amend the Sherwood Municipal Code to reflect updates that were made to 3 of the state building codes, as well as an update to Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue's fire code. The state has several specific building codes, and periodically these codes are updated with newer additions, newer versions. This year, the state adopted a new 2021 Oregon Residential Code, an Oregon Plumbing Code, and the Oregon Electrical Code. And any jurisdiction that has a building permitting and inspection program is therefore required by law to locally adopt the changes to these specific codes. In addition, TVF&R has updated their local fire prevention code. And I don't know if Steve Forster is still in the meeting, but he would be available to answer any questions or explanations for the fire code updates. I'm available for any questions. That's a pretty brief explanation of what's going on. So,
Thanks, Scott. Before we ask questions, if there are questions, Sylvia, just for clarification, we do not have any public testimony for this public hearing, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you, Sylvia. We will close the public hearing portion of this public hearing, first hearing. Questions for Scott or Steve from council?
I don't have a question, but just looking at it, looks like really what's been updated is the years of these codes, and then a little bit of wording on the TVF&R. Didn't look like any major changes.
that's pretty much correct. The updated codes have their own year. They're all 2021s, all the 3 of the ones that have been changed. So that is the main thing that we need to update in our municipal code, is to reflect the current year of addition of code that the state has adopted.
And that's accurate as well. Hi, everybody, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Glad to be here. Steve Forster, Tualatin Valley Fire Rescue. Just wanted to confirm that's the same on our side as well. It's really minor changes. It's our first ordinance update since I think it was 2014. So just typical legal kind of update, review, minor corrections, changes, and an update to the newest state code. Nothing really substantial beyond that. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. Other questions? This is the first of 2 public hearings, scheduled public hearings. It'll be back in 2 weeks. Any other comments or questions at this time for staff? Seeing none? Awesome. Thank you, guys. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Unless council wants to do this one in one hearing, I cannot imagine. Okay. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Steve. Next on our agenda is city manager report, but I'm not going to let there be a city manager report just yet. Today is our city manager's last city council meeting. We're going to have a budget meeting on Thursday. So that'll be his last public meeting, but definitely wanted to let everyone know, and that this is Joe's last city council meeting. We greatly appreciate his tenure these past 9 years. As part of it, we're doing a proclamation for Joe. I'm recognizing his contributions to the city of Sherwood. Joseph Gall has served the city of Sherwood with distinction as its city manager since 2012. Gall has recently accepted a new position with the Regional Water Resource Management Utility Clean Water Services in Hillsborough as their first ever Chief Utility Relations Officer, where he will lead their newly formed Regional Utility Services Department. I think it's quite a credit to Joe that they sought him out for this brand new role in their organization. So that's not part of the proclamation. Back to the proclamation. Gall has a 9-year track record of success in Sherwood with deep connections in the Sherwood community that will continue long after his departure. Throughout his time in Sherwood, Gall has successfully executed on the vision of city leadership and helped bring many goals, priorities, and projects to life. The passage of our new urban renewal plan today on his last meeting, it's transformational. It's a big deal. The community of Sherwood is a better, stronger place for all its residents to live, work, and play because of Joe's efforts. The Sherwood City Council is grateful for Gall's passion, commitment, and drive through the years, and wishes him the best in his new ventures. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Sherwood City Council, do hereby recognize and thank Joseph Gall for his many contributions to the Sherwood community during his time as city manager for the city of Sherwood. Thank you, Joe. And before you still can't talk yet, but just for the community to know, is it from 1 to 3 on Friday at the Art Center is going to be an open time reception to say thanks to Joe and wish him well. He's not going anywhere. He's still going to, at least for the time being anyways, and for his current plans, is he's going to continue to be part of our community, live here, raise his family, and we'll see him all over and be a resource. And we'll be leaning on him because we'll have demands of clean water services before you know it. So now that we're coming on the other side of this pandemic, finally, I hope you're vaccinated. Come on down and see Joe Friday at the Art Center, 1 to 3, and thank him in person or reach out to him in other ways.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, I don't think we should let Joe talk yet. I think we should all talk first.
Okay.
So I was just going to say, Joe, it's been really an absolute pleasure to work with you for 4 years. And I don't know why I'm going to cry, because I just have really enjoyed it. You bring a calmness to the city. And the things I really appreciate is your responsiveness and the time you take with city councilors to get us up to speed on projects, answer every stupid question we have. Because I know I probably have a lot of them, as I've learned over 4 years. I mean, every day on city council is a day of learning, because there's so much that we're just lay people serving the city, and we don't know all the ins and outs of everything. So I appreciate all the time, the weekly meetings or the bi-weekly meetings that you've had with city councilors. I've talked to other councilors who they don't have that luxury with their city manager. And I know it took a lot of time off of your busy weeks, but you made it a priority, and I really appreciate that. So I know you're gonna still live in town, and now when we see you out for pizza or whatever, we can stop and talk to you, and Kendra's not gonna have to worry that we're talking about city business. So Kendra, we look forward to seeing you guys out in the public, and we'll talk about other stuff besides the city of Sherwood.
Here, well said.
I'll go. I
Go
thought
right
Tim was going to beat me to the microphone, but maybe he's waiting to be last. I don't know.
Oh, I figured you'd want to go next.
That's probably fair. So I want to say really exactly what Kim said, being a first-time city councilor and, not knowing, at least I have some experience being on planning commission. So I'm kind of used to the machine that is, the city government, but being a city councilor is a whole nother, it's a whole other level, you know, of representation and really stopping and thinking through things. And I felt like Joe was always, you know, helping us see both sides of every issue, and was always, you know, fair in his suggested assessment of the situation. It just really helped. So I also, and I think he's all the people person. He's a connector. He's a baker or whatever it was. I forgot what that was 2 years ago, but magician. I don't know what those were. But anyway, so
merchant.
Oh my gosh, I knew they were making something. I forgot what it was. Anyway, so Joe, I echo what Kim said. Thank you so much, and best of luck. You're going to be great. So thank you so much. And I believe every word that the mayor said. I think that Sherwood's a better place because you helped guide us for 9 years. So thank you.
Okay, I'll jump in now. Joe, you're definitely a merchant. Russell, I don't know if a merchant is making something or selling something, but you know, we can discuss that later. But no, Joe, I've really appreciated working with you this whole time. I learned a lot from you as a first-time city councilor. And I think the practice of meeting with everyone on a regular basis on city council, as Kim pointed out, a lot of other cities don't do that. And I think it's a huge reason this council is so successful. We're informed, we get to make good decisions, we balance policy versus execution on your side really, really well. And it's a reason that Sherwood is known as, and will continue to be known as a city that thinks outside the box and moves things forward in creative ways, like we just did with our URA that we adopted earlier here. So thank you very much. And I look forward to having an advocate over at Clean Water Services as well. So don't forget us. Oh, and since you won't be working for the city anymore, you can endorse us when we run for elections, right?
Nice.
And then you'll know what he really thinks.
Uh-oh.
That's right.
Yeah, I guess I'll jump in. I'll make it brief as well. Joe, yeah, you know, you've been great to us collectively and me individually, helping me through a lot of thought processes. You know, I like to consider myself to be an open person when it comes to thinking, and your perspective is always one that's very measured and in the best possible way is mostly lacking in emotion, and it makes sense, you know, and often what we have to do as city councilors is set aside emotion to make informed decisions that benefit the most people in our community that we can. And you've always been very helpful in setting my mind into that mindset. I think one of the things that I certainly didn't recognize this before I joined council. City manager is a terribly difficult job. There is so much that you do as a city manager that isn't seen, that's behind the scenes, and that the public doesn't know about, won't ever know about probably, but is really critical to making the city what it is. My family moved here in 2012. It's better now than it was then. You know, I think I can very easily say that, and I know that you've had a lot to do with that. So just really thanks to you for all your help with us. Thanks for what you've done for the city. You're not appreciated nearly as much as you should be, but you know, just I'll give you my personal appreciation. So thanks.
I want to concur with everything that's already been said, but Joe, it's been an honor and a privilege to serve alongside you, not only at City of Sherwood, but through Rotary and through the YMCA and all those other intersections that we've had as co-workers in multiple fashions. But you're a great leader. I look forward to seeing what you do in your new position, and good luck in everything that you do in the future.
I'll go. So I first of all, I want to shout out for one of Joe's many, you know, accomplishments here in the city that I think is worthy of calling out, is his creation of and running of and we haven't unfortunately been able to have it for the last year or so, but the you know, the Citizens University program. You know, that's an incredible asset to me as a counselor who went through it, to I know many of you who went through it, to just any member of the public who wanted to come and spend 6 evenings over the course of a couple months and learn about everything about how a city operates, right? From the police to the fire, the police department to the fire department to public works to the library, and just the litany of guests that were able to come on a weekly basis. And really, it's an incredible program, and I'm, what a legacy to have created that. And it's something that I hope we can continue, once soon, once the measures allow. And then I think that's something that Joe can be proud of creating, and that will live on, even as he moves on to his next job. I had the privilege of writing the most recent Archer Council Corner, and I talked about Joe and his accomplishments in there, and I'll just read my last paragraph because I think it encapsulates what I want to say. On a personal note, I'd like to extend my appreciation and my gratefulness to Joe. As a new city council elected in 2018, new city councilor elected in 2018, Joe was gracious with his time, his information, and his energy in helping me to get up to speed as quickly as can be. Joe has always been one to answer a call or a text or an email at nearly any day of the week or hour of the day, if needed. For those of us on social media, we have seen, no doubt, the countless number of times that somebody has tagged him in a post and he's responded almost immediately, spurring the appropriate city department into action to address the question or concern that was raised. Whether it's a broken slide, an overflowing garbage can, or any number of other things. It's more than apparent to me that Joe has never treated this as just his job. He truly loves Sherwood, and it shows every day, and we will miss him.
Here, here. So, Joe, should we just let you compose yourself, or are you good now? Are you settled in?
Yeah, can I talk now, Mr. Mayor? So,
so we haven't even got to the stories yet to really embarrass you. So that's coming up.
yeah, and there's probably plenty of stories. So I will be brief because I don't necessarily want to get emotional either, Councilor Young. I am a merchant though, so, but I really, first of all, really appreciate all the wonderful comments folks have made. I'm at a point in my life where I'm closing one chapter and opening a new chapter. And I've been a city manager now for 15, 16 years, and I've been in local government for 35 years. And I'm still going to be in local government. It's just going to be a different role, but it's kind of bittersweet because I went into this profession 30 plus years ago to cause a little positive change in the community that I work in. And what you guys have said tonight reassures me that I've had a little bit of a positive impact on this community with a great team behind me, whether that's the council that I worked with or the team of staff. I'm really proud of the work that I've been able to lead and accomplish and work on in my 9 years here. This really has been the highlight of a 30 plus year career in local government. And I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going to live in this community. I do love this community. You're right, Councilor Scott. It's part of me. It's part of my DNA. We've had challenges over those 9 years. Being in local government is not always the easiest work, but it is work that you can actually get things accomplished. And I still have that passion and that fire in my belly that this work really means something, and you can get work done. You can work with people from all sides of the political spectrum, listen to each other and learn. And with what's going on in our country, what's happened here in Sherwood gives me hope that things can be better in our country in many ways. I have loved working with elected officials. I think you guys are all crazy for volunteering and running for office and giving all the time and energy that you do. And part of the reason I spend so much time with you is to help you do a good job, because you guys are doing this as volunteers. You want to give back to your community, and you want Sherwood to be a better place tomorrow than it is today. And that's unnatural for me as a merchant to do that, to work with people that want to volunteer and improve their community. And I will miss that part of this job. It's been an interesting ride for me, and I really appreciate all the work that you have done and will continue to do. I mean, Mayor Mays is right. On a night where you approved a master plan for parks, you know, that's a project that's gone on for a year plus, and that's going to pay dividends in this community as it grows and develops. You know, the projects and programs and ideas that came out of that are going to pay dividends over the next 20 years. The urban renewal project that was approved tonight, same thing, it's transformational. 10, 15, 20 years from now, when we come back, if we leave Sherwood or folks that come to Sherwood, the decisions that you guys made tonight, just tonight, as an elected volunteer council, truly are transformational. And you should be proud of all that work and the time and energy. And if I've been helpful for you to do a good job as an elected official, that warms my heart, because that's important to me. So I just appreciate all the comments tonight and all the hard work. I also have to say, and I'll say this on Friday, and I'll say this again and again, my job in many ways was easy because of the staff that are behind me in this organization. I inherited great staff when I got here back in 2012, and many of those folks are still here and will remain here when I'm gone. And we've hired some great staff to supplement the existing staff, but they're the ones that get the work done. You guys know that, you acknowledge that all the time. There's a lot of behind the scenes work that makes a city run, and we're not always perfect, but we're always striving to do excellent work, and we're always looking for ways to improve. And I can't not acknowledge my senior leadership team and the staff throughout the organization that have been a joy to work with over the last 9 years. I will miss working with all those folks as well. So it's kind of bittersweet. I'm excited, but I also, it's going to be really weird not to be a city manager anymore. In some ways, very good, as Councilor Young said, being able to be in the city and not necessarily worry about what's not working or other things will be somewhat a relief. But I leave a great staff. You're going to hire a great new city manager, in my opinion. The job posted today or yesterday, and I think you're going to get a lot of great candidates because this is a good city and a great community and a great opportunity for someone else to kind of follow in my footsteps. I followed in the footsteps of people ahead of me and kind of built on that. You have a great interim city manager in Kristen Schweitzer. She and I have been working very closely over these last weeks. She is going to do a great job in her role as an interim city manager. And I am here for you, Kristen. I've told you that privately, but you know, I'm here telling you publicly when you need me, or there's something like, you never told me about this, Joe. I'm one phone call away, or text or email. So I'll leave it at that, Mr. Mayor and Council, but thank you. I really appreciate your thoughts and comments. And I have one more meeting, Budget Committee on Thursday night, so my job's not done yet. So
yeah, here. We got you for 3 more days, or
yeah.
2.5, something like that. Something. But yeah, your next chapter, it's an exciting chapter, and I'm happy for you. And yeah, like I said, I'm pretty sure I still have your private cell phone number that I've been prohibited from using for however long, because after you got the government number. So
well, we know where he lives. We know where he lives.
It'll be good to have someone with the city DNA within Clean Water Services. The CEO continues to remind me we don't have people that think like you in the organization. We have a lot of smart, technical folks that understand stormwater and understand sewage and all those good things, but we don't necessarily have people that understand how cities think and operate. And I'm excited. I get to work with all the cities in Washington County in a new role, and it'll be a lot of fun. And I'm a city guy through and through. You guys all know that, so.
And I just one quick thing, Joe, thank you so much. Yes, please stay in touch, because we are going to value your ear and your thoughts and your counsel over at CWS. But I would be remiss if I didn't also thank Kristen Schweitzer for volunteering. You volunteered, right? To step up as the interim city manager. I think you'll do an awesome job, and really excited about having you in this role as we look for a new city manager.
Thank you.
Kristen, do you have any comments as the soon-to-be interim city manager during the city manager report?
No, not tonight.
Okay.
Joe, you want to report on anything? You don't have to.
No, I think you've mentioned the budget committee meets for the first time on Thursday night at 6 p.m. It'll be a virtual meeting. We were hoping for in person, but we're still not quite there with COVID, but we're getting closer, thank goodness. So that's an important process that the budget committee will be working on over the next few weeks to wrap up. And as I said, the position, the city manager position is now open and is being broadcast nationally. So I've actually been getting some questions from people across the country about it because it's out on LinkedIn today. So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor, unless you have questions related to city business for me or my team that's on the call.
I'm good. Anybody have questions for Joe or his team? Awesome. Council announcements. For those watching, it is still early-ish. I don't know what the voter turnout will be, but there will be some most likely new school board directors in town. At this reading, Krista, Abby, and Duncan will get elected, but I'm assuming there's more votes to count. The turnout's pretty low so far. So
Clackamas and Yamhill County haven't reported yet. So
right, that's right. We overlap that whole thing. I forget about that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, they're not very good at reporting like Washington County is then.
Yeah, so biting my tongue, just from Washington County's perspective, those that live in Washington County, that's who's leading. But the lead isn't much in the scheme of things between Krista and Eric for that seat. Yeah, that's the closest one. But I have no idea how many. Yeah, we don't. I never pay much attention to the territory of voters in the school district. So interesting. Other announcements. I'm going to defer my announcements beyond. We will have some work ahead by council to help decide on our priorities, advocate for transportation projects with Washington County with their Mississippi 3F or whatever they call it in the future. But there'll be more to come with that. Oh, and then as a community, you probably have heard, we exceeded the 65% vaccination rate as determined by the governor, and we are moving to low status restriction levels as of Friday of this week, which means greater occupancy of buildings. So that's good news. And you can't go backwards on vaccinations. Not like they're going to find some more residents they haven't been counting in town that haven't been vaccinated. So that's good news for our local businesses and for our community as a whole. The vaccination numbers are up. And we are the highest vaccination rate in the Tri-County area. Awesome. Other announcements?
One quick announcement for me, Planning Commission is not having a public hearing next Tuesday, but they are having a work session and they will be discussing the first draft of proposed residential design standards, as well as reviewing the public input we received on the same topic. So next Tuesday, 6:15 on this YouTube channel.
I have a quick one, and that is that Robin Hood Festival has finally landed on a date, September 24th and 25th. So excited. That's it.
I don't have anything tonight.
I will defer as well.
I'll pass.
Nothing for me.
All right. So what am I forgetting next? So thank you, everyone. We are going to adjourn to an executive session. So the city council meeting is officially adjourned, and we'll see counselors and the appropriate staff in the exec session. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe. Enjoy this great weather in Oregon, in Sherwood.